As someone who's inherently curious, there's nothing I enjoy more than a good mystery. It interests me to research these topics and try to draw my own opinions. The Vikings are the most mysterious community in the medieval history, which makes this topic even more fascinating. Vikings, also known as Norsemen or Northmen, were Scandinavian maritime warriors who invaded and settled a large portion of Europe between the 9th and the 11th centuries. Their disruptive impact had a significant impact on European history. Here are just a few of my favorite Viking mysteries, keeping that in mind. Mystery 1. Eric Haraldson, also known as Eric Fratrum Interfector and known by the moniker Eric Bloodaxe, was a monarch of Norway in the 10th century. It is usually believed that he served brief reigns as King of Northumbria twice and of Norway once. It's unknown how he came to rule, but the English king wasn't happy about it. He sent his warriors on a raid against Northumbria as retaliation, and he threatened further destruction unless the Viking rulers were removed. Eventually, Eric Bloodaxe lost his crown. However, he reigned once more in 952 AD, only 4 years later. Again, we have no idea how he accomplished this. He once again became a Christian, but as we know from past events, that wasn't enough to keep him in power. After being deported, Eric spent some time in Spain before being murdered. That is only one account of how he passed away. What happened to Eric Bloodaxe is unknown. Another story claims that he was tricked by his troops during the battle and killed by them. But we are unaware of his fate. Or if, as some sagas claim, he also reigned as King of Norway. In any case, he passed away in 954 and served as Northumbria's final monarch before it was incorporated into England. Mystery 2. A prominent Viking named Rollo was well known for his incursions into what is currently France. Rollo received Normandy as a gift from the Frankish king, where he established himself as the very first Duke of. The king advised Rollo to quit raiding his cities. The origins of Rollo have always been a mystery to historians, probably Norway or Denmark. Some sleuths were interested enough to learn more about his grandson. They performed DNA tests and unlocked his grandson's grave. However, they discovered the skeleton was far more ancient than Rollo and contained a family link when they opened the tomb. It appears to be an old Celtic chief, although he was interred like a medieval duke. Mystery 3. Reindeer are hunted in Norway, and I must admit I'm astonished that Santa Claus permits that. A Viking sword was recently discovered by a reindeer hunter as he was exploring a lonely mountain. He discovered a very well-preserved Viking sword on the mountain ground while he was standing 5,318 feet above sea level. It has probably been undisturbed for more than 1,000 years. The reason it was left there is impossible to determine, maybe getting lost in a significant snowstorm. A sword's iron is severely corroded. The strength of Viking swords is demonstrated by the length of time it endured in the open. Mystery 4. Vikings used sunstones to steer their ships, according to medieval sagas. Vikings would bring a mystery gemstone up to their eyes. According to Norse folklore, the crystal would indicate which way to sail. And ever since the Middle Ages, people have questioned whether that is indeed the case. What, if anything, were sunstones? A shipwreck from the 16th century was just recently found underwater. There found a transparent yet foggy crystal among the debris. Some scientists speculate that it might be a sunstone. It was crafted from an Icelandic gemstone that was being mined. On cloudy days, it turned out that gazing through the crystal makes it easier to see the sun, which would have been helpful for navigation. 1 degree of the sun's location can be determined by rotating the crystal. Thus, it's possible that sunstones might be real or might not. Before proceeding further, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new interesting video like this. Now, let's explore another fascinating mystery of the Vikings. Mystery 5. Viking explorers arrived in Greenland at the end of the 10th century. Along with Iceland, they colonized other islands after settling there. They made their home in the southwest, which at the time was unpopulated. In the north were the Inuit Greenlanders. Viking settlements in Greenland expanded quickly as a result of the high value of their walrus tusk exports. However, the Greenlandic Vikings inexplicably vanished after 400 years. Unknown reasons are behind why their towns turned into ghost towns. As recently as a few years ago, as Forte abandoned Greenland because of climate change, but current research demonstrates that such climate change did not occur, at least not in Greenland. Some claim they fled to Canada to start new lives because the soil in Greenland was eroding. Some claim they were driven back to Scandinavia by the Inuits. We only have concrete evidence of their sudden disappearance. Mystery 6. A Viking burial was found in Norway in 1888. It appeared that a significant leader was buried beneath a lengthy ship. The finding was just too significant to take any chances with. The survey put historians of the future to rest. It was ultimately reopened in 2007. He was undoubtedly a powerful individual who passed away around 900 AD, as evidenced by his burial inside a burial site on top of a Viking ship. However, there is no documentation of this man's identity. It was ended with the hypothesis that he may have been the ruler of a small, undocumented country. It might have been a transient entity that was quickly incorporated into Norway. Mystery 7. A puzzling urban legend dates back to November 1965. The story goes as follows. A police officer was patrolling a little town close to Liverpool. He detained a man who was believed to be a mugger late that night. Police officers suddenly became aware of a glowing light coming from the skies above. They looked up and observed a cloud that was in the form of a Viking longship and was shining brightly in the sky. It appeared to be soaring through the sky as it moved more quickly than the other clouds. The cloud, which was gradually taking on the appearance of an actual ship instead of a cloud, can be seen to contain 20 Vikings. The ship quickly vanished into the sky. Later they learned that in 1828 an old Viking ship had been recovered nearby. Mystery 8. Ragnar Lothbrok may be a name you are already familiar with if you've watched Vikings. He was a legendary Viking figure who appears in several sagas and ballads. His exploits as a raiding captain against England were legendary. He supposedly rose to prominence as a Viking king before being eventually kidnapped by the ruler of Northumbria and put to death by being dumped into a pit filled with snakes. The only issue is that we are unsure of his existence. He is not documented in any historical sources, although more than 30 poems that were inspired by actual Norse events do mention him. He was Ivar Boneless's father. Vikings did exist. A Viking leader named Ivar Boneless led an invasion of England. He was referred to as Boneless for unknown reasons. The reasons offered include everything from disability to erectile problems. Ivar Boneless was a real person, but his dad might not have been, or perhaps they did, but they were lost to history. Because other rulers at the time were worried about tarnishing their legacy if a great person existed. Mystery 9. The medieval swords known as Ulf Birth were of Viking origin but became popular throughout Europe due to their reputation for power. Swords from Ulf Birth were regarded as legendary and dominated battles. Each king yearned for the one. However, fewer than 200 real Ulf Birth swords have already been discovered, despite the numerous imitations. Which is genuine and which is a copy is easily discernible. However, nobody is aware of how Vikings created the Ulf Birth swords. Compared to the other swords of the day, they were stronger. Crucible steel was used in their production, which, according to what records can tell, was the only method of production available in the 18th century. But 1,000 years prior, it is evident that the Vikings used crucible steel. How Viking sword makers employ such cutting-edge technology. They were manufacturing extremely durable swords 1,000 years earlier in their time, but no one knew how. Mystery 10. It's amazing how far the Vikings traveled, yet it's unclear how far their colonies spread. The two questions listed here rank among the largest Viking riddles ever. The extent of Viking colonial expansion. Where is Vinland exactly? Vikings first set foot in North America's Vinland region about the year 1000. It was referred to as Arges and fought to signify country of wine in one of the Greek mythology lines. It was a sizable Viking settlement, although its exact site is unknown. In North America, just one permanent village has been discovered. The community is a portion of a broader colony known as Vinland, not a fight to be Vinland. What remains to be determined is just how far Vinland can extend. Where are the remaining towns located? Internal strife among the Viking settlers was the main reason why this August Hellas of Vinland collapsed. Other towns may have been destroyed. So I hope you liked this video, and if you have liked this video and want to watch similar content, then check out other mysterious and interesting videos in my channel. Which one of these mysteries was your favorite? Let us know in the comments. For more such unsolved mysteries and Viking conversations, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click on the video on your screen.